Hey everybody, wonderful good morning to all of you out there, or whatever time of the day you're actually seeing this. This is Bob DiGiacomo, Bermuda Bob Leadership and Intentional Growth Coaching. And I am definitely coming to you from beautiful and sunny Bermuda. So you can see from the title that I've posted down below, are you fulfilling your destiny moment? And that is the subject of today. Are you fulfilling your destiny moment? And at any given time and any given place in your life, there is a destiny that you would be living in the moment. But of course, you need to be in the moment in order to fulfill that destiny. You know, at any given time, in any given place, a year from now, we look back a year from then, and it's always the anniversary of something. It's always a year, or 5 years, 10 years. And if you live long enough, it becomes the 50th anniversary of something. And I think back here in, I think that the year 2019, so I think back 50 years, and that would bring us back to 1969. So what was going on back in 1969 as far as a destiny moment is concerned? Well, let's see. First of all, I'm a native New Yorker. I realize I've been in Bermuda for 41 years, but I'm a native New Yorker, and if you want me to speak with the New York accent, I can do that. But many things occurred in 1969, both as New York was concerned and as the United States was concerned. Things that technically weren't supposed to happen. From a sporting perspective, 1969 was the year of the Miracle Mets. The year they won the World Series. Now, if you know anything about the New York Mets, you know that they were an expansion club that started back in 1962, and the players that they had on that team back in 1962 were anything but what one would consider the prime time players. But yet they fought their way, and finally, by 1969, they became the Miracle Mets because no one expected them to rise to the top, yet alone win the World Series. From a New York perspective, it was also the year that the New York Knickerbockers won it all in the National Basketball Association. And just as importantly, from a New York perspective, it was the year that the New York Jets, when they were New York and not New York, New Jersey, the New York Jets, playing in frigid, cold Shea Stadium. You remember Shea Stadium? History. Won the Super Bowl against Baltimore. Now what's unique is that the Miracle Mets defeated Baltimore and the New York Jets defeated Baltimore. Two different teams, two different sports, but it was the same city. So it was a New York moment, a New York minute. But from a national standpoint, it was also the year that man landed on the moon. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. President Kennedy, back in the early 1960s, I think it was 1962 to be precise, said, "We will go to the moon before the end of this decade, not because it's easy, but because it's hard." And so I'm asking you today, are you living in your destiny moment? Are you fulfilling your destiny moment? You're probably wondering where I got that phrase. Well, I borrowed it from Joel Osteen last Sunday, because he used that phrase it was either last Sunday or the Sunday before, but he used that phrase in his sermon. And I thought it was a pretty doggone unique statement. Are you living in your destiny moment? Are you fulfilling your destiny moment? Destiny comes in increments, and if we don't capture that moment goes past us, and hopefully another destiny moment will come by. But you got to grab it while it's there. You got to make every attempt to be in that moment when that moment strikes, because it will also have an impact on many, many other people. What was the impact of the New York Mets winning the World Series? Well, New York had a National League team that was finally a contender. The New York Jets came out of nowhere with Broadway Joe Namath. He was living and fulfilling his destiny moment. The New York Knickerbockers, of course, in basketball. But most importantly, the United States proved that it was out there on the cutting edge, fulfilling the destiny moment of the country, landing on the moon. Things go like this in life, and sometimes totally exciting things can go by the wayside because too soon we forget. But we need to remember. So what is today the anniversary of a year ago? Well, just as a hint, today is actually the anniversary of 3 Mile Island. That was not a year ago. And if you want to know what 3 Mile Island is, you can Google that. But what occurred a year ago that you can remember back? What occurred 5 years ago, 10 years ago? And as I say, if you live long enough, you can actually go back 50 years or more and say, oh my gosh, today is the 50th anniversary of whatever. Well, this year is the 50th anniversary of quite a few things from a New York kind of perspective. So, as I close, I just want to leave you pondering, are you fulfilling your destiny moment? Until next time, Bob DiGiacomo, Bermuda Bob Leadership and Intentional Growth Coaching, coming to you from beautiful and sunny Bermuda. Make it a great one. God bless.